Hello and welcome to the first ever podcast of Knitting Eillets. I'm Eillets, also known as Saskia, where I come from. I live in Switzerland, in the northwestern part, so in the German-speaking part, Swiss German. I decided to do this podcast in English because my partner is half Scottish. And I really wanted to practice a bit my English speaking skills to get back into it, as I didn't teach English this year and I think I'm a bit out of practice in talking in English, so I really want to get into it again. When you see me looking down, it's because I have my notes here. I'm a bit nervous because this is my first ever podcast. I thought for a very long time if I wanted to do it or not, if I should or not. The thing that really pushed me was when Vanissia from the Woolly Worker did a knit chat, and she talked about how she started the podcast and what it took her to start it and that it wasn't easy. And I wrote a comment that I'm thinking about starting a podcast sometimes too, but I'm unsure because I'm already 35 years old. I always thought I'm maybe a bit, it sounds silly, but a bit too old to start a podcast. It sometimes feels like it's more for the younger people out there, like in their 1920s something. So yeah, I thought a long time about it, and she answered to my post very nicely that I should give it a try, and why not? What could I lose? And I was thinking, like, she's right. What can I lose? I just go for it and have a go. I'm really not very skilled at all this technical stuff. I kind of I'm not a digital native. I really have to learn this and try, so I hope sound and video quality are okay. If not, I will try to change something to make it better for the next podcast, and I hope you will stick with me anyways, if not everything is perfect at the first time. I want to do a very classic podcast for this first one, with what I'm wearing, finished objects, whips, plans, acquisitions. So yeah, I might also tell you about my plans for this podcast at the end, but we will come to that. I first want to tell you that I really started knitting in September 21, because a good friend of mine who works with me is a very skilled knitter. Before that, my relationship to knitting was a bit like a on-off relationship, I guess. So sometimes I knit something very ferociously. I wanted to do something and I wanted to have it finished, and then I would leave it again for like 2 years or something. And then I do a scarf and then I leave it for 2 years again. So not a really consistent thing I did, but I learned it at school, like I think everyone does in Switzerland. We learn knitting at school. So yeah, and since September 21, I'm really knitting non-stop, you could say. It really gotten a hold on me. I really love knitting. It's just so relaxing and soothing to sit on my couch or on a nice chair outside in the evening and knit, to see the garments I produce. So yeah, I'm very looking forward to share with you my knitting journey in this podcast. So I start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Cecile top. It's a A very lovely top design, very easy to make. It's top down. You start with one of the straps, back, front, and then you join in the round and you go into the round. So you can see it's a right, left stripe pattern. I really love the neckline it has. It's the same front and back, so you doesn't matter which way around you wear it. The pattern is by Paula Strick and it is on Ravelry. So this is my second version I did. It's the one I did this year. It is knit on 3.5mm needles with the soft bamboo yarn from Hobby. Go Handmade, I think, is the sub company or something. And I really like this yarn. It's 70% bamboo and I think 23% cotton and 7% acrylic, so it's a blend and it's really nice. It has a nice drape. It's very soft and nice to wear next to my skin. It's breathable. It's a really nice summer yarn. I did a size M in this one because my gauge was a bit off. It was smaller than suggested in the pattern. Yeah, I made another one last year. I have it here in this really stunning blue cotton. I can't remember what yarn it was. I bought this yarn when we were in the holidays in Italy last year. So it was kind of my souvenir from Italy, was this blue cotton yarn. It's a very nice cotton yarn. I knit this one with needle size 4, which is a lot more, how do you say that? It's not a rougher fabric, but it's not as fine and delicate as this one. It's a bit more rustic fabric maybe. Although it's cotton, it's a dry cotton, it's very nice to wear next to skin. But at this one, there happened a mistake, unfortunately. Right at the end, I wanted to weave in the ends, and then I realized that here, you can kind of see it. Here, one loose end where I cast on or put in another yarn ball. Somehow one of the ends got loose and unthreaded itself, and yeah, it was a big hole, and I didn't really manage to fix it very nicely, and I didn't want to rip it all back because I already had cast off and everything. So I kind of tried to fix it, but as it's more of a rustic garment, I didn't like the fabric too much. It's a bit uneven at some points from the stitches. So I thought, well, that was a first try. I will wear it in the garden or to the stable with my horse or something. And I make another one next year, a nice one. And this is this one. I really like that you can wear a bra under it with no problem. So I have a bra now. You don't see the straps. It's not too, oh, see, that's the other side. It's not too deep down under the arms. It's just a very nice fit. I really like it. So I will link it down below, and it is on my Ravelry page. It can be found on Ravelry if you type in Cecile top, and I will link it down below in the info box. So I have 3 finished objects for this podcast. 2 of them are socks. One is a garment. I will start with the socks. The first socks are my woolen socks. They're both vanilla socks, so it's nothing too special, but I really love the yarns I knit them with, and I think with a plain stockinette stitch, special yarns just tend to shine the most. So this is my first vanilla sock. It is not blocked. I have to say I never block my socks unless I'm gifting them, so they really look nice. But for me, I don't block them. I just wear them and then wash them and let them dry, and then they are kind of blocked. So I just skip that step. I would block them if I would have the feeling that the yarn had a lot of oil or something in it, or was particularly dirty or so. But for my feet, I don't really care. So yes, they're not blocked. That's why they look a little crumbled up, but yeah, it's a lovely yarn. It's a bit greener in real life than it shines, that the camera shows it. So yeah, that is a bit better. And it's not as dark black, it is more like a brown. Maybe if I hold it really close. Yeah, you can see the brown specks. So it's a really lovely yarn which I bought at the Swiss Yarn Festival. It is from Nina Hand Dyed Yarns, ninasthreads.eu. It's a twist sock yarn. Hunter in the Woods is the color. And I bought it over fieldsofyarn.ch, so Switzerland. And they sell it. It's a really lovely yarn. It's a really lovely dyed yarn. It's very regularly dyed. It's 80% merino and 20%. Am I telling the right stuff here, or am I just improvising? No, I'm telling you the correct stuff. It's 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, like a classic wool, except that it's for merino wool, sock wool, except that it's with merino. So yeah, I just love the color. I love green, as you might be able to tell already. And I did my vanilla sock recipe, which is as follows. I always do toe up socks. I prefer toe up socks to top down. I tried that only once and I really didn't like it and never did it again. I actually did the second sock of the pair, I did toe up again. So I always do the easy Eliza super easy toe up sock cast on. Eliza is a German YouTuber podcaster. I think she is no longer with us, unfortunately. So she has a lot of great tutorials, and I learned sock knitting with her tutorials basically. And I did her super easy toe up sock tutorial where she does this cast on for the toes, and I always do this one. I'm not sure what it's called. Then I always increase to 48 stitches and work with a 3mm needle. I'm just too impatient to work with a 2-point something needle. I'm a tight knitter anyways, so I can get away with 3.0mm needles. My gauge is just fine. I like that gauge for the sock. Then I always do a shadow wrap short row heel. Well, not always. I used to do the German short row heel, which I always had holes with, and so I changed it to the shadow wrap short row heel, which I really like. And the Earth Tones girl on YouTube has a really lovely tutorial on how to do the shadow wrap heel. That's how I learned it. So go check her out too if you want to give it a try. For the cuff, I changed to a 2.5mm needles and did a 1x1 twisted rip. I just think this gives it a neat rip, and I cast off quite stretchy with a stretchy bind off, which I also don't know what it's called. In German is that dehnbar Abschluss. It's a stretchy bind off. I always knit my socks with negative ease. I like them to fit quite snugly. I don't like it if they slide down or crumple or something. Yeah, if I wear those in my shoes in winter, I want them to fit. I can't wear those socks though on my bare feet because I am very, very sensitive to to all kinds of wool and itchiness. So alpaca wool I cannot wear on bare skin. 100% merino wool until now couldn't wear on bare skin. So I always wear normal sneaker socks underneath, especially in winter. These are winter socks. And I need toasty feet in winter, so this doesn't bother me. And it's compared to other sock wool I had in my hands, it's a very nice one. I still have some wool left. Let me just quickly grab it here. The ball just rolled away. Yawn chaos. I have this much left. I think this will give me another pair of socks if I pair it with a kind of a dark brown or maybe even a red for toe, heel and cuff maybe. So I just want to find a nice contrasting color and do another pair of socks. My second finished object is also a pair of socks, but a very different one in style. It's made from a cotton yarn, the Regia Tutti Frutti yarn, and it's the colorway of the watermelon, and I just love them. I just will nicely do the sock. Here you can see I just love watermelon and I love this yarn. It was such a joy to knit with. It's the same recipe basically, nothing different than the sock before, just another yarn. So it's the Regia cotton color Tutti Frutti, and it's 72% cotton and 80% polyamide, which I think is a really nice blend for sock wool, summer sock wool. Well, I'm not actually wearing those in summer, but like, spring, early autumn when I go to sleep, I like to have warm feet in my bed, and I can't wear the woolen socks on my bare feet, and I don't want to wear sneaker socks. Well, 2 pairs of socks in my bed, so I need some cotton sock yarns so I can wear them in my bed on my bare feet without feeling itchy. Yeah, I'm very sensitive, as I said. So yeah, it's really nothing to talk about. It's the same structure as the other pair of socks with a shadow wrap short roll heel, toe up, 1x1 twisted rib cuff, in stretchy bind off. It's lovely. I'm looking forward to wearing these in autumn. Need a sip of my homemade iced tea. It turned quite warm suddenly. It was a very cold spring and now it's suddenly summer. But it's nice, I like warm temperatures. My third finished object is the tulip sweater by Ririko. It is a very gorgeous pattern. I really love how it fits, how it drapes. I love the neckline. It's quite a wide neckline, so I really like it. It's just too warm to wear it actually. And I'm not wearing it so I can show it to you properly. Maybe I will wear it in another podcast sometime, more in autumn maybe. It has this lovely pattern in the raglan line, which go actually down the whole sweater, the front and the back of course. And when you pick up the stitches under the arms, it's top down by the way, you are going to knit this wonderful this is really hard. I always watch podcasts when I'm knitting, and this always looks so easy when they hold the stuff in the camera. It's actually quite hard because somehow left and right is interchanged, and I have already trouble with left and right without being it interchanged in the camera. So yeah. So this is the stunning. Why doesn't it show? Here, now you can see it better. It's this lovely lace pattern like tulips, therefore the name. And at the bottom hem, let's see how I can show you this. There the pattern goes once all around, and the general shape is, can you see that? No, this way. No, like this. Oh, this is killing me with the left and right. So you see that it's a straight line. Normally the pattern would have quite an extreme A-line shape and is quite oversized, which is not my style. I like my clothes to be more fitted or just slightly oversized. So I changed the pattern. I didn't increase to get the A-line. I just didn't decrease for my waist, which I normally would do. So I just knit straight, and with the lace pattern at the bottom and on the sides, I thought it would give it a slight A-line shape anyways. And it did. It's a lovely shape. I did also change the sleeves. The sleeves originally were 3/4 sleeves, which for me doesn't make sense at all. I'm either freezing or I'm hot. When I'm hot, I wear a t-shirt or a tank top. And when I'm freezing, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. So I just lengthened the normal sleeves and did them to full length. And yeah, I didn't change, I didn't alternate. I didn't alternate skeins. I just knit one skein after the other, and it is knit with a wonderful yarn, which I also bought at the Swiss Yarn Festival, which was marvelous, by the way. I have 3/4 of a skein left, I guess, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this. It is from Wollspinnerei Vetsch, the Felice Merino Seidengarn. It's 70% merino wool and 30% silk. The merino wool is extra super fine and mulesing free. Is that correct? Am I pronouncing this correctly? Mulesing free. So where the sheep don't get hurt. It comes in 125 grams skeins, and one skein has 400 meters. Yeah, it turned out very good. It's quite nicely fitting. About this, it's one of the first yarns. I have one other yarn, which is not a cotton or bamboo yarn, which I can, like a wool, that I can wear next to my skin without something underneath. So I really can like put it even on my neck, and I love the feel of it, the touch of it. It's lovely. And the color is just, it's gorgeous. The color is quite true in the video. It's quite as it is. They had so many gorgeous colors, so it's worth going to their website and checking it out. The yarn is not cheap, though. It's merino silk and in Switzerland, so it's a quite expensive yarn. But it was worth it for this project because I wanted a yarn I can actually wear next to skin without something underneath. Because this is my autumn, spring sweater when the weather gets warmer, but not yet t-shirt weather for me. So yeah, I really love it. I'm very happy with this project, and it will get a lot of wear, I'm sure, in autumn. Let's go now to my works in progress. My first work in progress is a shawl, which I started in, I think, February. So it's a kind of a winter project. It's the reason why it's at the moment it's a resting work in progress. I really loved the pattern when I saw it on Fruity Knitting podcast. I just had to have this pattern. It was so stunning. It's the Yvonne MT shawl by Natasha Hornby from Moonstruck Knit, and it's so gorgeous. It's a mosaic pattern. I actually can't fit it already onto the screen. So I guess you can see the nice pattern and the scalloped edge. I really love that. It's a very nice pattern. It's nicely written. It was clear. You have a nice group on Ravelry where you can ask questions if you have some, and they are very helpful there. So it was my first ever project as a mosaic knitting project. So at the beginning I was like, oh, what do I need to do? Help! And I was chatting in the Ravelry group, and they helped me very nicely and told me that no, you can do this, it's fine, just come back and ask. So really nice support there. There's actually a link in the pattern itself that will lead you directly to this Ravelry group, and I think that is a very smart thing to do. The wool I took is by Hobby. It's also Go Handmade, and it's the vintage wool. I have the one color I took is this really dark chocolate brown, which looks quite purple in the camera. It's really just, that gives it a bit more. It's a brown, really dark chocolate brown. And this, they call it curry color. I would say it's more like a golden color. It's a nice yarn. It's made of 70% wool and 30% bamboo. Still, for me to wear it here, it's too itchy. But I already expected that, and I didn't want it to buy like, you know, very expensive yarn. And it's a winter shawl, so I always wear a silk shawl in winter anyways, also inside. And this would be kind of an outside shawl, like on top of it, or a kind of over the shoulders. So I'm wearing something underneath anyways, so it will not bother me. That's the thing. I like the yarn. I like to knit with it. It's a bit splitty, and it broke on me once, but I guess that's totally fine for the price range it is in. I really like the Hobby yarns. It's affordable yarn to a quite good quality. Of course, you can have a skein where you have a lot of knots in it. I just had it in my other whip. Yarn I had like 4 knots in 50 grams, which is a bit annoying, but yeah, it's for the price. I don't think you can say anything. This one is resting until autumn, winter. Then I will take it back on and finish it, because now it's even too itchy for me to work with in these temperatures. So it will rest a bit longer for the summer, and I will go very happily back to it in autumn. My second work in progress is a summer project. It's a summer t-shirt. I first wanted to knit the Tolsta tee from Creabea Knitting, but I had this yarn, the Go Handmade soft bamboo, no, not fine, double. The double, this is the double bamboo, not the fine one. I just have the wrong etiquette here, but I just took one because it's basically the same. This one is the double. The fine is what I took here. And I had this yarn and I wanted to do something with it. It had to be something summery. I didn't want to do a tank top because I already have one. It's the same color as my tank top. I somehow last year in summer ordered twice the same color, the same yarn, just once double and once fine, and I kind of forgot that I already ordered it. Yeah. So I had this lying around for quite a while now because I didn't know what to do with it. For the Tolsta tee, it was too fine. It was not, the gauge didn't match at all. I didn't have any of the fine yarn left because I used all of it. I wanted to make a t-shirt because it needs to be something summery, something airy, something nice. And Rebecca from the Crea Bear podcast told about Scottish summer and how she likes wearing a t-shirt. And as I'm going to Scotland this year for a summer holiday with my partner, especially to visit his sister who lives near Inverness, I wanted to have a t-shirt. I thought that's a quite good idea to have a t-shirt to take with me, maybe to knit at when I'm there, or if I manage to get it finished before that, then as a garment. And I started looking at Ravelry for a pattern. It's unbelievable, I have to say this, but I couldn't find a pattern I liked. There was always something. I don't know, do you know this? Do you know this strange occasion where you have hundreds of patterns or hundreds of something and it's not quite it? So I had it with this one, with this t-shirt. Either the fit was not for me, it was too oversized, too tight, too plain, too lacy and holy and everything, and didn't like the neckline, didn't like the sleeves. There was always something, the gauge was off, there was always something that wasn't matching. So I just decided to design my own t-shirt. No, I don't intend to be a pattern designer in any way. I don't have the time for that, and I don't have the skills, definitely. But I know how to do a top-down raglan design. I took from the numbers, I orientated myself at the flax top-down raglan, but the spring version with the tighter gauge, which actually didn't match that badly. Just to know how much I wanted it for a neckline cast on. And I did a raglan and I looked for some patterns, for some lace patterns to insert. I wanted it on the sleeves to go down, and I wanted a little pattern here in the front center, and I wanted some nice raglan lines, some lacy ones. So I just took out my grandma's trusty old knitting book, pattern knitting book, which is I think from 1983 or so. It's the Falken Handbuch Stricken, and you have so many patterns in there. It's an amazing book still. You also have how to knit a sock and everything, but they sew together a lot. So I haven't done the actual pattern from the book, but I love these kind of charts. You have so many charts, and I did, oh no, wrong side again. I did this one. Without the sidelines, just the middle part. I really like that. I chose this for the sleeves. Let me see if I can show you this. It's not very visible. I should have, I think, a dark background. Or maybe at the right background. Is that better? Yeah, it's a bit better. Can you see? Oh, no, you can't. I'm doing it all wrong. I'm sorry, I definitely have to practice this. This side, no. Not better. Bit better. I hope you can see. It's also not blocked yet, so of course, so it's all kind of a bit bunched up. And it's harder to see than when you do lace, you know that. I really like the pattern. That's the one on the shoulder. I did one repeat on the front center. And the raglan lines I actually took from my other pattern book I have. It's a very famous one. It's the Vogue Knitting Dictionary. Dictionary. I just created a new word there, a new word fusion, Dictionary. Stitch Dictionary. So this pattern was from in there. It's a very nice, let me see if I can pull it a bit more, twist it. I go to the wide one, like this, like a zigzag line with the holes left and right. Of course, it's still also not blocked. These are the raglan lines that go down, and when I separate the sleeves, I will just go in plain stockinette stitch. And I'm not sure yet what I will do for the hem. I'm not sure if I do this pattern, which also is in the Vogue Stitch Dictionary, as a border. So maybe I could do this as a border, or I just do some rows of garter stitch or Nycord bind off. I'm not sure yet. I will see how it turns out. And yeah, I'm knitting it on 4mm needles, using the Knit Pro system with the wooden ones, the Symphony. I really love them. And yeah, it's a really, I have to concentrate at the moment, as long as I have the lace pattern to do. When I come to the stockinette stitch part, it will be just relaxing knitting for me. So I don't have any acquisitions. I haven't bought anything, but I have some plans I want to share with you regarding knitting and regarding this podcast. I want to start, as I already told you before, another pair of socks. I'm not sure if it's going to be plain stockinette socks or if I'm going to insert a little pattern just for to have something else. It will be another cotton sock yarn from, I think, Regia. I haven't with me right now. It's back in my stash. I need to go and find it. Yeah, I need another pair of summer socks, because at the very beginning I knit my summer socks with pure cotton yarn, which of course didn't last very long. I didn't know it at that time. So I need to go on and do some more socks for autumn, so I can have nice cozy warm feet when I go to bed. The other one is the Lily Leaf Top by Lene Tøsti. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. I don't know how to pronounce the O with a slash in it. I think I'm going to do a size XS or S, and I want to do the ripped version. It's such a lovely neck yoke with a lace leaf pattern. I just fell in love with it when I saw it, and I really want to give it a try. I ordered the yarn, which is suggested in the pattern, the Rowan Creative Linen. It's on its way. It will arrive at some point. And yeah, I definitely want to do this one in the summer. The plans for this podcast, I want to do it monthly, so once a month for a start. I think I will have a long time to cut and prepare the video, as I'm really inexperienced in doing so. I want to be this podcast mainly about knitting, but I also want to insert some sewing and maybe some other fiber or handicrafts I do. I also paint a bit. I plan on do some felting for the first time, so maybe I take you along with this. Yeah, I want to do what I like. I want to share with you what I love doing, and I hope you like it. And yeah, but mainly it will be knitting. I'm sure of that. I'm also thinking about trying crochet. I actually am very bad at crocheting. I never learned it really. I can do like a provisional cast on with a chain. That's about the only thing I can do. So yeah, I've seen a bag with sunflower granny squares, which I really loved. So maybe I will give this a go, but yeah, maybe not this year. I'm not sure. So that is where I want to go with this podcast. I hope you stick around with me. You liked what I told you, what you've seen. If you did, you can of course click the like button. I am as Eillets. You can find me as Eillets, no knitting, just Eillets, on Ravelry and on Instagram. But I have to say I'm not very active at Instagram. I just started very recently with Instagram also. I'm kind of trying to get into this stuff a bit more. And yeah, I'm very new to it still and not very used to it, just plainly spoken. So thank you for watching my first ever episode of this podcast. If you want to leave a feedback, what I could do better, improve, please feel free to put it in the comments below. I apologize for I've definitely made some mistakes in English, language mistakes. I'm not a native speaker. My native language is Swiss German. And so English is a learned language for me. And as I said, I want to practice it a bit more. I'm sure I did a lot of mistakes. So apology for this, and I am wishing you a nice day. See you next time, hopefully.